Welcome to the Rogue episode of the Bohemian Way WellCast. Rogue. We have no idea what this episode is going to turn out like. Yet here we are. There's going to be some questions answered, affirmations, and it's all coming at you. Hey, what's up? My name is Vie Boheme.
Hi, I'm Mayyadda.
Hi, my name is Ricki Monique.
Hey, my name's Ashe. I use my name Ashe as a pronoun, as well as she, her, hers. I also go by Ladybug.
I am a multimodal performance artist. What does that mean? That means that I exist on both the creator and the leadership side of multiple aspects of the creative sector. That means that I sing and write my own music and people hire me to sing their music. And I also produce music concerts. I dance, I choreograph my own work, people hire me to dance with them, and I also can produce movement-based events. I am a wellness worker as a yoga guide, and I produce my own wellness events. I have many brains. That's what it means. It means I have many brains. And I love that.
I am from Minneapolis, rep the 612 always, and I make just like music for your soul. Some mix of like some folk, a little bit of singer-songwriter, pop, R&B, a little bit of a neo soul. There's a lot going on there. It's good music, I'll say that.
I'm a rap artist and cultural curator.
I am an actor, writer, dancer. I love to creative direct on film and on stage. And I'm an arts administrator.
Okay, what is creative autonomy to you, and what do you hope to learn about it this year? The idea of creative autonomy, it's like the freedom to create and express what is within you that has to be let out, that has to become, that has to be expressed. And when I think about creative autonomy, I think about my ancestors and the Black American women performers and singers, and not just women, queer identified folks that were writing, expressing what was within them to come out, and that those things kind of got away from them, and over the course of my career, some things have gotten away from me too. So I think I've been anxious about continuing to be creative and really sitting with what my creative autonomy is. So I'm glad this question is here. I hope to learn a new level of reckless creative freedom. Reckless creative freedom and will to express myself has taken me on some of the most wildly fun and engaging adventures of my entire life. It's taken me all over the world to be creative with a level of autonomy. I hope to learn a new level of it. I'm older, I'm wiser, I'm smarter. I have way more tools. I have way more intuition. I have an overwhelming amount of instincts. And so I hope to learn new ways to have powerful intensity and expression of my creativity and the huge visions that I have, that I've been blessed with, gifted with to bring to life. And I also hope to learn to become more comfortable with what is required of me to properly steward the dreams and visions that I've been gifted to bring to life. So I don't have no problem being creative, but the responsibility to steward those things properly is something I've been challenged by, so I hope to learn to become more comfortable with doing that.
I would say for me, I want to start with what I hope to learn about it in the next year. And I think for me, for so long, I've thought that creativity comes after knowing how to do something. So for example, as a music artist, I felt like I needed to learn how to read music or understand tone, or have a finer understanding of my own ear and the type of music that I'm interested in order to create it. So something that I'm hoping to learn, I don't actually believe that, that's just something that I've thought for a long time. So what I'm hoping to learn moving forward is how can I still be creative and autonomous within that creativity, separate from feeling like I need to know everything about my own creative practice in order to actually create or actually express myself. So seeking to learn how to make art without feeling inadequate about the art that I'm making. And to me, true creative autonomy is just sureness in whatever it is that you're creating and finding that sureness throughout the process. I think creative autonomy also, this is debatable, but to me is having fun as you're making art. And that's also something I'm hoping to learn in the next year, is how to have fun throughout the process, because I think my process for a while has felt a little unfun.
I think creative autonomy is being able to fully realize what's in your head and what's in your imagination. I'm excited to develop more of things that I wanted to do regarding art administrative support. I think a lot of artists need that back-end support when it comes to operations, when it comes to building contracts, systems that support their orgs. I'm super interested in being creative in that kind of way, and also building more of my brand and more of my business in that way.
To me, creative autonomy is the ability to actually trust the vision that has been entrusted to you. Trust that vision, trust your ability to execute it, and trust the universe to provide what is most necessary for the execution of that vision. And I think this year, I really hope to learn how to sink deeper into that trust and surrender to the fact that even though I have autonomy and agency in this process, I'm co-creating something with the universe, I'm co-creating with whoever my collaborators are, and there's a level of, there's a way to try to take too much responsibility for that, and then I end up hindering that creative process because I'm not letting other people, or letting my other collaborators, being other people, the universe, like whatever, I'm not letting other collaborators do their part because I'm trying to like make sure it's done the way that I want it, or I'm trying to minimize burden on other people, and then I end up stalling the entire thing. So the thing that I really want to anchor into is releasing control and letting the story unfold as it's going to unfold, let the vision unfold as it's going to unfold, and instead of trying to decide on the front end, this is how this is going to come into the world, and if it doesn't come through that way, now I'm fighting it. So that's a big thing I'm looking forward to.
The second question is, what gets in the way of your creative autonomy and how do you overcome it? So for me, I feel like for a while, what's gotten in the way of my creative autonomy has been myself, or my self-doubt rather. And I also think this idea of comparing myself to artists that are around me that I perceive to have this abundant source of ideas and creativity, comparing myself to them rather than leaning into what my actual practice is or trying to understand my own practice has kind of been a hindrance to me. So then I would have times where I feel like I'll kind of get down on myself. So something that I'm learning about overcoming that is kind of just being in my own energy, getting really weird at home when I'm alone, and finding time to journal about what makes me so uncomfortable with my own process, what makes me so unsure about my own process. And sometimes actually writing music about that block or that discomfort has really helped me with overcoming that like shame or that feeling, or also sometimes feeling obligated to keep going. Just allowing myself to really unpack those feelings has helped me with overcoming that. And it's something I'm still working on, if I'm being honest.
I honestly think sometimes we have to overcome ourselves and our self-doubt, or just some things that we might have in our head of ways we limit ourselves. I think sometimes our mantras can be a little like self-doubting or just limiting. And I think I am really interested in doing more uplifting words of affirmation for myself. I'm more interested in being around more spaces and people that also uplift me and also are really rooting for me in my creative vision as well.
At this point, a combination of self-doubt and this really deeply ingrained desire to not burden people. Really, I really struggle with accepting that I can't do everything by myself, or that I have to ask for help in the creation of visions. Even if the vision is given to me, that doesn't mean that it's for me alone to manifest. And I really struggle with leaning feeling like I'm going to lean too heavily on other people, other collaborators, even if they've agreed to said collaboration, agreed to the burden that is put on them in that process. I really struggle to feel like that's okay for me to lean on people. And then coupled with, actually that probably is related to the self-doubt, because the self-doubt I think is also coming from a place of, am I doing enough if I ask other people to help? Am I contributing to this? Am I struggling enough for this vision if I ask other people to help? And that gets in my way quite a bit. Currently in the process of overcoming that, but the biggest asset that I've had in overcoming that is my community, both creative and personal. That overlaps quite a bit, but having people that I can be vulnerable enough to be like, yo, I feel like I can't ask you this. I feel like I can't ask someone for this. Like, and letting people tell me like, that's crazy. Like, you actually need to, like, you need to let us help you. You need to ask for this help and like accept it. And then if the help is not exactly what you need, like, you need to give us more instructions so that it can be what you need. Like, having that reinforced by people outside of me, both in their words and their actions, and people being willing to repeatedly tell me that, is probably what's helping me overcome it the most right now. But stay tuned, because I am still in the middle of it.
I think the first thing that comes to mind when I think about my creative autonomy, what's getting in the way of it, I think sometimes my sadness. I'm a really deep feeling, thinking person, and I can have really strong bouts of sadness that can be very heavy. And so I think that that's one thing that gets in the way of my creative autonomy. I think a strong desire, or I don't want to say it's a desire, I would say a strong sense of responsibility to being amenable to people has gotten in the way of my creative autonomy. I learned that from somewhere, so I don't want to say that it's a desire or like a need of mine. I learned that from somewhere, to be amenable, to be nice, to be not angry or harsh or, you know, whatever this gesture that I'm sure whoever's watching this can understand, whatever that is, that has gotten in the way of my creative autonomy. Getting caught up in stories in my own mind or things people have said to me. How do I overcome it? Is to embrace a certain level of solitude with intention. To stay purposeful on stewarding my creativity and being responsible to steward it. Almost like being a parent, you know. I can't control my creations, can't make them do certain things, right? Because a lot of the things that I create require collaboration, teamwork, other people, right? We all kind of pour our energy in our lives and whatever we bring into things that we create. However, part of my overcoming is to like take very seriously my responsibility to steward the direction of the creations. That's how I can overcome. I hope to be able to overcome certain levels of sadness. Like that sense of like stewarding being kind of a beacon of light to me. That I get to, you know, I might feel sad today, but I get to hold this thing, or I get to nurture this thing, you know. That's my hope at this juncture. I guess we'll find out when we get into the year, huh?
Repeat after me. To anchor my creativity,
I'm releasing self-doubt.
I'm releasing my past.
I'm releasing ego.
I'm releasing the need for control,
And I'm calling in
Audacity.
And intuitiveness.
surrender to flow.
a spirit of release.
To protect my autonomy, I'm releasing resentment and judgment.
Obligation.
Indecision.
The tendency toward overgiving,
And I'm calling in intuition.
Ruffling feathers and being done with it.
differentiation.
Risk-taking and commitment to honoring self.
I choose myself today.
I fill my own cup.
In my community,
Receives the overflow.
Thank you so much for tuning in to the Bohemian Way WellCast. I appreciate you. I hope you feel poured into. I hope you got something that you needed, and I hope you discover something new. Take care.